Well, hey, y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess, and today we're doing a little bit of Frugal Living Challenge 25 by doing our intentional living cards today. And I'm going to be reading out of the King James Version, Ephesians 5, verses 15 through 17. So let's start out with that. We'll get into these cards. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as the wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. That's an interesting passage to me, and this is what I came up with. Use your time wisely. Set my Bible aside. So I'm laid up and I cannot do the spring clean challenge, the spring clean 25 challenge that I've got out. Uh, I might be able to do some little things, but not on the grand scale that I was planning on doing. That's going to be put off because I can't be on my foot for more than a few minutes at a time or it begins to swell. So, what am I doing with my time? Even if you're laid up in bed and you cannot get out of bed to do things, there are things you can do in that bed that can keep your hands and your mind occupied. One of my favorite authors is Phyllis Whitney, and this is a double book. It has two of her books in it, and I pulled it out. I had already read most of the first book, and then I put it on the shelf because I didn't have time to finish it. So I decided to start the book over, and the second book is towards the back of the book. So I'm going to be reading through this, and I like to pull out her books periodically and read through them. I have several of them. They're very hard to find these days because they're no longer being published. But she is a clean author. She writes mystery novels, or she did during her lifetime. I'm not even sure if she's still living, but it's romantic suspense novels. And the first one is Blue Fire, and the second one is Black Amber. I started reading her as a teenager, and the very first book I read by her was called Spindrift. And I borrowed it from the library, and I fell in love with the way this author writes. I literally could not put the book down. So, this is going to be reading material for me to keep my mind active during this time that I am down, physically down, cannot get up and do what I need to do. And then something to keep my hands busy when I get bored, because the other day I watched musical after musical on Roku, and after a while that became very boring to me, and I decided I didn't want to watch that anymore. But I pulled out this yarn cake. This is a wool ease cake. Uh, the color wave is Poseidon. It's got all the beautiful colors of the ocean, I believe. And I think I've got a couple of these cakes, and then I have some other cakes that are woolies as well that I could probably mix and match if I wanted to. So I have started making granny squares. Why a granny square? Well, granny squares I can do mindlessly. It keeps my hands busy. And then when I'm done with them, I can decide what I want to do. And so this is the first granny square. I think it's about 3 or 4 inches. And this is another colorway of that same yarn. And so all my granny squares are going to be different colors. And then I may pull out another yarn and do a border around it in a solid color, maybe a blue. A royal blue would be very, very pretty with this. Or black or yellow. Anything to make these colors pop. What can I make with this? I can make me a long coat for the winter, and I can line it because it's got wool in it. It's going to keep me warm. I could make a baby blanket or lap blanket, baby blanket, Afghan. I can make a scarf. I can make a cardigan. So many things I can do with these little granny squares. I can make Christmas stockings with these um, little granny squares, and just a number of things I could do with these. So this is going to be a keep me busy project because I can do it mindlessly and I don't have to really think about it, but it's keeping my fingers nimble. The next intentional living card is do life with a passion. Now, passion is not the passionate love affair that I'm having in my life. That, of course, is my husband, but that's another story. But I have many, many passions. I have a passion for cooking and canning and providing for my family. I have a passion for sewing. I love to read. I love to create crafts and art. And I love to paint. So those are my passions. I love to garden. Those are things that I'm passionate about. And so we are to live intentionally and do life with a passion. What are some of your things that you love to do with a passion? And keep it clean in my comments. Intentional living is declutter your space, declutter your mind. How do they go together? Well, Spring Clean 25 was about decluttering my space and really spritzing it up and making it look homey and clean and inviting and warm. And I am not able to finish what I started again. You know, life throws monkey wrenches at us, and we sometimes have to go with the flow. And being a senior citizen, it seems like they come more often than they did when I was younger. But when your space is clean, it's easier for you to declutter your mind as well. Um, when your space is full of clutter and you're looking at it day after day, you get depressed and so many other things happen and you can't focus. And so when you declutter your space, you're actually able to focus again. So declutter your space, declutter your mind, and be able to focus again. I've got two more cards. We're going to make this a short video, hopefully. Intentional living is learning to listen first before responding. This one I'm going to nitpick on because so many times we're trying to have a conversation and the other person is just cutting us off and they're not listening to what we're saying. A good rule of thumb is to repeat back to the person that you're talking to so that you both are on the same wavelength, that you're understanding what they're saying before you respond to them. And keep doing that until you know exactly what they're wanting from you. And then respond. And as a person responding to you, what are you supposed to do? Listen first. Keep your mouth quiet and listen. Don't walk over them. Don't try to change the subject. Don't try to tear them down what they are talking about, because when you do that, you're going to automatically be cut off. Uh, Especially with me, I'm through with that kind of lifestyle. Am 62 years old, fixing to be 63, and folks, I am done with people, walking all over me and not listening to what I have to say. And I hate to put it out there like that, but I really am. And I'm sure there's many of you in the same boat with me on that one. So learn to listen first before you respond, and then respond and be on the same subject. Don't change the subject or make the subject about yourself, but honestly listen to what they're saying, because sometimes it's a plea for help. And um, that's when you want to help somebody. But if it's a self centered conversation where they're just talking over you, you don't need to be in that conversation. They're not going to listen to you no matter what you say. So get yourself away from that. My last card is a very, very good one. When I became a Christian, I became a new creation in God. I am a reborn person. How am I reborn? God creates a new heart within me. He takes out that stony heart, that hardened heart, and He replaced it with a soft heart that has passion for His word and for Him. And so, intentional living will be to allow God to create in me a new spirit. When we become a Christian, He puts His Spirit within us. It's the Holy Spirit. And we become the temple of the Lord in our physical body. And so I want God to take control of every aspect of my life and for me to do His will. In order for me to do His will, what has to happen? The old self has to die. Cocoa Bean, behave. So the old self has to die, and that Spirit of God takes over, and what you see today is what God has created in me. Well, friends, I really want to thank you for coming along on these intentional living cards. I think I did 5 of them today. Um, and this is really helping me. I hope it's helping you as well to really kind of slow down and take things in as they come. I'm going to be dealing with this foot for a long time. Um, and God has me where He wants me right now. Could I be angry about this? Yes. Can I get short tempered about this? Yes. Do I mean to get short tempered? No. I am dealing with a lot of pain, and I'm not on any kind of pain medicine. I'm not taking it. The doctor offered it, and I told her no. Um, I am doing turmeric, the turmeric tea, the golden milk, um, about twice a day in between all my other medications because I do have a pain medicine for the arthritis in my back, but it is not alleviating this type of pain. When you have an injury like this, you really have to be intentional. Thank you, my friends, for watching, and may you be fully blessed.